Hey everybody, just me again, Wayne. Thanks for checking out the channel. I know it's been a while since I put up a proper video, so let's start doing that again now. Well, it's the end of 2021, and you know what that means? It means it's time for everybody and their dog to put together a bunch of pointless lists. So here's ours. This is going to be our list of the Marvel Disney Plus shows of 2021 and how well they did. We started off the year with WandaVision, followed up by The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Loki, What If, and Hawkeye. Now, when I say how well they did, I don't mean in terms of ratings, because you can find that out. You can look that up and see which ones drew in the most viewers and which ones drew in the least, and so forth. Nor do I mean what's the order of the shows in terms of just overall goodness. What's the best of those shows and what's the worst of those Marvel shows? Although I do have an answer to that question if you'd care to hear it. Maybe I'll tell you, maybe I won't. Rather, what we're going to do is we're going to rank the shows, but not in order. Rather, we're going to rank the shows, the Marvel Disney Plus shows, our first full year of Marvel-produced Marvel superhero shows on Disney Plus. We're going to rank them in several individual categories. Fun, fan service, feels, and fit. Now, by fun, we mean dialogue, humor, and action. Fan service, we're talking about the degree to which the show balances putting in stuff that geeks like me really want to see, and balances that with things that appeal to a general audience. Because, the show can't just be targeted at me. It has to reach a broad range, right? Feels, feels the degree to which the show makes you care about the characters. And by fit, we're talking about how the show seems like an MCU show. Does it seem like it exists within that universe or does the show seem like it lays the groundwork for future things in the MCU? And we're going to assign points in each of these categories from 1 to 4 based upon, the degree to which the show seems to succeed in that area. One category we're not going to pay any attention to is acting, because the acting is just top-notch by everybody in all these shows. And honestly, I don't see how anybody could possibly complain about the job that anybody did in any of the shows. So, same way with directing. All of these shows directed really, really well. So acting and directing, that's good. Also, we're not going to pay any attention to the quality of special effects because, again, it's just pretty damn good no matter which show you're talking about, no matter which episode, and so forth. Now, are there a few glitches? Yeah, there are. But, We'll cut Marvel a little bit of slack, given all of the COVID things they had to work around. So, fun, fan service, feels, and fit. Let's see how each one did. Oh, and I almost forgot. Fair warning, there might be some spoilers ahead. I'll do my best to avoid them because I hate spoilers. But it might be difficult to do all the discussion without a few of them slipping in here and there. So, fair warning, just so you know, if you haven't seen these shows, or if there's one that you haven't seen but you really want to, and you hate spoilers as much as I do, skip that chapter. I think there'll be chapters. I haven't put chapters in a video before, but I don't think it's that hard, so I'll give it a shot. WandaVision. For fun, let's go with a 3. Now, for me personally, it was a 4. I loved every episode of this, but a lot of people found those first couple of, old-timey sitcom-ish episodes a little slow, so we're going to have to take it down a notch. So instead of a 4, let's go with a 3 for WandaVision in terms of fun. Now, fan service, absolutely a 4, because WandaVision gives you all kinds of stuff. If you're a Marvel geek like I am, and it balances that with enough general things that I think it appeals to people even if they're not comic book geeks like me. So like my wife, she's not a comics geek at all, but she was really invested in seeing next week's episode after every single time. Feels, oh my, OMG, WandaVision absolutely gets a 4 in the feels department. I mean, was that not a heartbreaking finale? And when Vision says to Wanda, well, I won't say what he says to Wanda in case you haven't seen the show, but you want to. But yeah, oh, the feels gets you right here. And then as far as fit, does the show seem like it existed within the MCU? And does it seem to lay the groundwork for stuff going forward? Totally a 4. Absolutely in both those categories. If you haven't seen WandaVision, you probably need to go see it, especially before Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness comes out here in, 3 or 4 months? Something like that. So there's WandaVision. We give it a 3 in fun, a 4 in fan service, balanced with general audience stuff, a 4 in feels, and a 4 in fit. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. In fun, I'm going to go with a 3. It didn't have me as engaged as WandaVision did, but I still really look forward to next week's episode after each one. Balancing fan service with general audience appeal, Falcon and Winter Soldier, I'm going to say absolutely deserves a 4. Top marks in this category. In fact, if we'd set a 5-point scale, it'd get a 5 there, but we didn't. So we're just going to have to go with 4. Because I think probably of all the shows, all 5 of the Marvel shows that we saw in 2021, Falcon and Winter Soldier had the most, the best sort of blended combination of fan service with general audience appeal. Really, really did well in that area. Feels, a 3. It didn't just like puncture me in the heart like WandaVision did, but boy, it did a lot of it, and I did care about those characters from week to week. And in fit, we're going to have to go with a 4, just like with WandaVision, because certainly, the developments that we saw in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier come directly out of, the end of Endgame, and it has huge ramifications for all kinds of things going forward in the entire MCU. So, fun, a 3, fan service, a 4, feels a 3, and fit, another 4. Loki. Now, here I'm probably going to piss some people off because I know a lot of folks really just absolutely adored Loki, and I liked it a lot, don't get me wrong. But in fun, I'm going to have to give Loki a 2 because honestly, I didn't think that the action was as compelling. I didn't find, the plot was great, okay, but it just didn't really thrill me, and I didn't think it was as funny as it really could have been. And it's not like I didn't like it because I did. But as far as fun goes, going to have to give Loki a 2. And in fan service, if our fan service category was just fan service, Loki would be an absolute 4, maybe an 8. But since we're talking about balancing fan service with general audience stuff, going to have to go with the 2 as well, because Loki was so clearly aimed directly at we Marvel geeks that folks in the general population had a tendency to get lost and go, what the was that? Where did that come from? Hey, what's that frog in the bottle in that one scene? You know what I'm saying? In feels, another 3. Didn't puncture me in the heart like WandaVision did, but I really wanted to see what became of the characters. That Loki-Sylvie dynamic. Oh, yeah, I was invested there. So, fit. This is going to have to be a 4. Because it absolutely seemed like it fit within the MCU. I mean, you can see how it came directly out of Endgame and out of Avengers before that. And it did a great job, I think, of bringing the character of Loki back to that place that the other Loki was in, in the very first few minutes of Endgame. Oh, boy. And it certainly put down some vital stuff for the MCU going forward. So, fit, Loki is a 4. What if? In fun, let's go with a 2, because I don't think that it wasn't dull, okay, but it also didn't, and perhaps because of the really episodic nature of What If, it didn't really engage, from week to week. You didn't watch one episode and automatically go, oh my gosh, I wish it were next Thursday already. For fan service, What If if we were aiming just at fans, would be way high, but we're going to have to go with just a 2 in fan service because I think the general audience pretty much scratched their heads at What If, and not just because it was animated. I mean, I have nothing against animation. I think there's some fantastic animated work out there. And at least 2 of the What If episodes I thought were absolutely amazing. I won't tell you which ones they were, but at least a couple I really, really liked. But frankly, most of the rest left even me going, oh, yeah, gosh, I wish that were better. So, so there's that. Feels, I'm afraid that this is the only one I'm going to assign in our ranking. What If in the feels category was a 1. It left, except for 1 episode, well, 2 maybe, it pretty much left me cold. And there were 2 or 3 characters actually, that I kind of got invested in What If, in the first episode, and I think the 3rd episode, and then again in the final episode. There were a couple of characters that I was pretty invested in. Oh, and my God, Chadwick Boseman doing the voice for T'Challa, the Black Panther, in 2 episodes of What If. That hits you in the feels, doesn't it? It's such a shame that he is gone, and you still have to wonder what Marvel's going to do about that. But anyway, in the feels, other than the spirit of Chadwick Boseman and like 2 other characters throughout the series, I'm going to have to go with the 1 in the feels because I feel absolutely no need to rewatch What If again, except for 1 episode, maybe 2. So let's go with 1.5. And in fit, well, most of What If seems completely disposable. You don't need to see any of it. Absolutely, no point going back to watch any of it again, except for 1 episode in particular. But that episode is so important, and if you've watched it, and if you keep up on the Marvel Studio stuff, you know which one I'm talking about. 1 episode in particular of What If was so important that if you didn't see it, well, let's just put it this way. There's a dimension to Spider-Man No Way Home that you're not getting. And there'll be a huge dimension, no pun intended, to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness that you'll be missing out on if you didn't see 1 of those What If episodes. So at least 1 episode was truly vital. So in fit, let's go with a 3. Hawkeye, a 3 in the fun category. Now, I only gave it a 3 instead of a 4 because it was kind of slow out of the gate. Those first couple of episodes, you're sort of waiting and waiting and waiting for stuff to happen, and it kind of didn't as much as you wanted it to. But it picked up really well after that. So let's give Hawkeye a 3 out of 4 in fun. Now, fan service, balancing that with general audience appeal, a 4, totally a 4. Maybe as much of a 4, or very nearly, as The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Because if you followed Matt Fraction's run here a few years ago on Hawkeye, and also the run of, oh crap, I totally lost my geek cred because I'm blanking on the name of the writer who did the Hawkeye series, really focusing on Kate Bishop. But if you read those runs, then watching this show was a treat. You're like, oh my God, dude, it's the Tracksuit Mafia, and so forth. And but it did those things in a way that was, a real gift to we comics geeks, but also appealed to a general audience in, I think, a really solid way. You didn't need to go into this having read any of the comics. And really, you could go into it with minimal watching of previous MCU projects. And it still was great. So, fan service balanced with general audience appeal, Hawkeye gets a 4. Feels, Hawkeye gets a 3. And it gets a 3 instead of a 4 only because it didn't have the chest-piercing impact that WandaVision had. And maybe WandaVision had an advantage there because it was first. I don't know. But but it gets a 3 because I thought the series did a really good job. And by the end of the series, I think that even folks who did not read the comics became invested in the characters that the series introduced, on television. Kate Bishop and Echo and Eleanor, yeah, I know, but I felt for Eleanor by the end of the series. I'm like, wow, what a spot to be in. So in the feels, Hawkeye gets a 3. And in fit, Hawkeye gets a 3 also, because it certainly took place within the MCU, and you can see it's going to have ramifications moving forward, especially in how it sets up our new name of character that will be blanked going forward. But I don't think it's absolutely vital that you'll have seen Hawkeye in order to understand and appreciate the things that are going to flow from it in the future MCU. So there you go. That's our pointless ranking of the 2021 Marvel Disney Plus series, according to a category that I just made up at the very last minute. So I hope you liked it. Hey, let me know in the comments down below what you thought. Did you watch these shows? Did you watch any of them? Did you watch all of them? Which ones did you like? Which ones didn't you? There's no reason to respond. I just would like to know. I find this stuff interesting. That's why I'm making videos about it. Oh, and at the beginning of the video, I mentioned that I did think there was one show that was the, quote, best, unquote, of all of them, and another one that was the least good of the whole batch, and I'll tell you what those are right now. And keep in mind, before I say this, that like all the judgments, I mean, if you're tempted to quibble or to argue, keep in mind that like all of the proclamations I make here on the channel, this one is pretty much 100% subjective, just my opinion. The show I liked the most, the one I thought was the best, WandaVision. WandaVision kind of had an edge over all the other shows because it was the first one, but even being the first one, it kept me on the edge of my seat, and other cliches as well, after every episode, and it just gave us, I think, the most food for thought of all of the Marvel shows of 2021. So love that show. So that one is my favorite. I found that to be just the most entertaining, the most engrossing, and so forth. The show I think did the least well, What If. Yes. And I don't say that because What If is animated. I have no problem with animation. What If just did not fire on all the cylinders, as we talked about somewhat in our discussion here just a few minutes ago. And I mean, Captain Carter, I really loved that episode. And What If Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? Really good episode. Very important to Spider-Man No Way Home. If you haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home, go see it now. And of course, it's going to be very important, I think, to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness coming out here in just a few months as I make this video. So there you go. My favorite, WandaVision. Least favorite, What If. And the other 3 shows, they're all in the middle, and they're all so good, I'm not sure that I could put them in any particular order, even if I were asked to do so. All right, hey, thank you all very much for watching. As always, you guys are awesome, and I'll talk to you soon.